Mr. Brahimaj, would you please stand? For the reasons summarized above, this chamber, having considered all of the evidence and the arguments of the parties, the statute and the rules, and based upon the factual and legal findings as determined in the judgment, finds you guilty of the following charges. Under count 28, cruel treatment and torture as violations of the laws or customs of war under Article 3 of the statute, committed against witness 6. Under count 32, cruel treatment and torture as violations of the laws or customs of war under Article 3 of the statute, to the extent the crimes were committed against witness 3. Your responsibility for the above crimes is pursuant to Article 7(1) of the Tribunal Statute. The Chamber finds you not guilty on the remaining charges in the indictment. With respect to sentencing, the Chamber considered the inherent seriousness of the crimes of which you have been convicted, that you participated directly in their commission, and that you held high-ranking positions in the KLA. The Chamber also considered the vulnerability of the victims and the physical and mental trauma they suffered. It furthermore considered how, upon learning that one of his co-detainees had died following ill treatment, witness 6 must have feared for his life. That said, the Chamber considered that your voluntary surrender to the tribunal and your family situation were mitigating circumstances. For having committed these crimes, we sentence you, Mr. Brahimaj, to a single sentence of 6 years imprisonment. You are entitled to credit for the period of time you have been in custody, which amounts to 1,109 days. As mentioned, Judge Hupfel has a dissenting opinion on one of the counts, which he will now summarize.
With full respect for the majority's opinion, I have to dissent from some conclusions which the majority of this chamber reached in relation to count 14. Under this count, the chamber found that Sister S, her mother, and Sister M had been taken from their home on separate occasions and then murdered by KLA soldiers. The chamber further found that the accused Idris Balaj was present when these persons were taken away from their home, and also when Sister S was allowed to visit her family after she had been taken away. The evidence showed that Sister S, who had been coerced to become a KLA member, took orders from Idris Balaj, that Idris Balaj had instructed her to be back at the KLA base by a certain time after the second visit home, and that he checked whether she complied. Further, the evidence showed that Idris Balaj had ordered Sister S to kill somebody, and that Balaj threatened to kill her if she did not comply. While I support the Chamber's findings on count 14 as to the aforementioned points, I respectfully disagree with the majority's finding that there is no evidence to establish that Idris Balaj aided and abetted the commission of the murder of Sister S. In my opinion, the aforementioned acts provide as a sufficient basis to find that by bringing Sister S under KLA control in this fashion, Idris Balaj placed her at a direct and serious risk. This risk did indeed materialize and resulted in her death. For these reasons, I find that Idris Balaj substantially contributed to the commission of the murder of Sister S. The evidence showed the leading role of Idris Balaj in the removal and visits of Sister S. The aforementioned death threat furthermore demonstrates Idris Balaj's own belief in his control over the life and death of Sister S. On the basis of these considerations, I am convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Idris Balaj was aware that Sister S would be murdered, and that he was aware that by removing Sister S and controlling her, he would assist in the commission of this murder. Consequently, he knowingly aided and abetted the commission of the murder of Sister S. I therefore find that Idris Balaj is guilty of aiding and abetting the commission of the murder of Sister S, which in my view should have resulted in his conviction under count 14.
This concludes the delivery of the judgment, which will now be made publicly available. The chamber stands adjourned.
All rise. Veuve lever.